Hello everybody, Mike Welch coming to you from the brand new paddock here at Churchill Downs with the daily racing form Kentucky Derby workout report brought to you by Spendthrift Farm, the home of Kentucky Derby winner and Horse of the Year Authentic, whose first yearlings sell this September. Traditionally, we usually try to shoot our first workout video in front of the stall of last year's winner. We weren't able to do that this year because the paddock was still under construction, and we're doing the best we can. Obviously, last year's winner, Rich Strike, wore Saddle Towel 21. We're getting as close as we can in stall number 20. Who's going to be in stall number 20 this year? We don't know that yet. Obviously, the post-position draw coming up in a few days. Hopefully, everybody's Kentucky Derby selections are as accurate as the weather forecaster was here earlier this week, predicting the storm that hit last night, the rain that left the track sloppy and sealed, sloppy, muddy this morning, whichever you want to call it. It's a fine line between the two. But it was sealed and kind of hard. A limited amount of works of any kind, and certainly none from the Derby or Oaks horses, but their weather forecast gave every trainer with horses in those races a chance to kind of restructure their training schedules and point for what's going to be a very busy day tomorrow. I think I count 11 potential Derby horses, starters, and 2 Oaks horses, all scheduled to work between 7:30 and 7:45 a.m. at the moment tomorrow morning. As for today, not much but gallops going on. I'll just go over a few of the key ones. The one else I want to mention first is Confidence Game, who's been conspicuous by his absence for most mornings here. Since I've been here, in the 8 days I've been here, I'd only seen him one other morning gallop until this morning, and he came out over the wet track, and I thought he looked good today. He was bounding right along over the wet going for a pretty serious session, and I think he's one of those 11 that are scheduled to work tomorrow. As for the Todd Pletcher 4, they were out quick. They're always about the first ones out once the track opens after the renovation break. Capitrice catches the eye again, as he always seems to do. Forte, not so much, just kind of an average-looking horse when he's galloping. I guess he just saves it all for the afternoons. He just does nothing but win. And their stablemates, Kings Barnes and Major Dube, are also out for just easy gallops, as all 4 are slated to work tomorrow morning. Angel of Empire, as usual, the first Derby horse out on the track, right after it opened, about 20 after 5 this morning. He did not gallop today. He just jogged in a set of bell boots going the wrong way a mile and then went off the track at that point. He's always the early one out. I think it's a rider situation for Brad Cox, and maybe he just didn't want to have him gallop over the track at that point of the day. It was a little bit better by the 7:30 break. We did have we did have 3 Derby workers this morning. They all came out of town. One of them was Lord Miles, the surprising winner of the Wood, and he won a 5 ace down at Gulfstream Park in 1:02 and 2 in company. Galloped out in 1:15 and 3. Just an average looking work to me for Lord Miles. He's scheduled to ship here, I believe, Sunday, and may probably we'll get our first look at him on Monday. As for the 2 Japanese horses, Dermot Satagaki and his stablemate Continuar, we talked about them. They worked a couple of days ago. Dermot Satagaki easily the better of the 2. They took the day off yesterday, and they were out again today for what is a relatively the key word. They came out at 6:50. They spent almost an hour on the track, but all of it was up in the chute where they did a little more than walk and maybe jog around a little bit. They never came out on the main track. They did not gallop today, and I guess we'll see them back on a regular schedule tomorrow. Rocket Can again visits the paddock as he does every day. Went out. He's kind of looking good in the morning. I like what I've seen of him physically, and he will be racing with blinkers on, as we've already reported. Mage today, a little bit more energetic of a gallop yesterday. Today, maybe the wet track, they took it a little easy with him. He visited the paddock as well. Yesterday, I had him kind of open galloping down the stretch and into the turn before he finished his gallop. The 2 California works today were significant. I got to see them on tape. I got to see one of them on tape, and that was Practical Move, who's going to be one of the favorites in the Derby. And my clocker out in California, Toby Terrell, timed him in 59 and 2, galloped out in 111 and 3. And watching the tape, I mean, he looked terrific. He was just cruising along. They had him out in the middle of the track. He ran up on an inadvertent target, not anyone this was not planned, and he just cruised by him, didn't turn a hair. Seemed to gallop out well into the turn, then he did ease up after 3/4 of a mile. The main concern, I guess, for those who are looking at Practical Move is the distance, being a son of Practical Joke, but getting a 1.25 miles is going to be a question mark for a lot of the horses in here. And then a little later, I haven't seen the tape yet, Reincarnate also worked a different kind of move. He went very fast, according to Toby Terrell out in California. Went 23 and change, 46 and change for the half in company, and galloped out 58 and change. Maybe a little bit too sharp and too hang this close to the Derby. We'll see. I'm anxious to look at the tape of that later, and I'll be reporting on that in my written workout report later on at drf.com. Like I said, tomorrow going to be a crazy day, so make sure you keep it right here. 11 potential Derby workers, a couple more for the Oaks. So we're getting closer and closer now to Derby 2023. So keep it right here for the best coverage right up to Oaks and Derby weekend at drf.com.
Put yourself in position to win big on Kentucky Derby Day with the power of daily racing form. Visit shop.drf.com and get past performances, expert picks, betting strategies, clock reports, and more. Again, that's shop.drf.com.